for measuring the motor constants, you're going to need some tools. And the first tool that you're going to need is some sort of power source. And if you want to just go ahead and use one of your batteries, that's fine. The problem with the batteries is that their voltage is not constant because it's always decreasing by a little bit. And a lot of the time you need to do multiple measurements, and it's just a lot harder if all the numbers are changing and you're trying to measure 2 or 3 numbers at the same time. So that's the problem with that. Otherwise, they're very convenient and it's something that you already have. What I like to use is this converted PC power supply, and a friend gave this to me, so I didn't do the conversion. I don't think it's too hard to do. So, but he mounted this post in there, and I get 12 volts. Up to about 8 amps, but I never come close to that. You know, I really just need a couple of amps that I use it for, and it's nice because it's steady. You know, I can take my time. The numbers are not going to change, and of course I got it for free, so that was even better. The other thing that you need is some method for measuring the RPM of the motor, and a tachometer, you know, like this one that I got years ago from Tower Hobbies. It's nice and inexpensive. I think you can get it for like 15 bucks. Of course, the downside is it doesn't work unless there's a propeller on there, and you really need to have either daylight or an incandescent bulb, or you know, fluorescent just doesn't work with this. So it's an okay choice. If you have a you know, some of the fancier watt meters like this one actually have an optical sensor on this side, so you might be able to use that. But what I like to do is that I have an Eagle 3 E-logger that I got years ago, and it actually has a built-in tachometer. But what's really nice about it is that it's electronic. I actually have this sensor here with 2 wires. So I hook up the 2 wires to 2 of the motor inputs, and I get a nice digital display of the RPM, and I don't need a propeller. You know, so that makes it very nice. The only downside is that you need to tell it how many poles the motor has, and by poles they mean the number of magnetic poles. So if you look at the motor carefully, you can count the magnets on the outside, and actually for most of my motors, you know, which are brushless outrunners, the number of poles is 14. So if you just put in 14, you'll probably be right, but you should count them up just to be sure. And then finally, what you need is a way of measuring voltage and current, DC voltage and current at the same time. And again, you know, when I say that, hopefully you're thinking watt meter, which is a nice way to do it. It's not the most accurate, but it's nice and convenient. What I do is that I use 2 multimeters. This one I paid about $350 for. This is a very high-end one. This is a standard multimeter you can probably get for about 50 bucks. And you know, you need 2 because one is for voltage, the other one is for current, and you need to hook them up. So it's a little bit of a pain hooking them up. And I ended up soldering these jumpers. I got the alligator clamps from Harbor Freight, and this is nice 10 gauge battery wire, and I just did, you know, solder them up myself, and you know, I put 3 of them together, and they just come in really handy for doing this type of testing. If you only have one multimeter, consider getting a so-called clamp ammeter, and this is what they look like. I don't have one, so that's why I'm showing you a picture. There's a couple of caveats. One caveat is that if it costs less than 50 bucks, it probably cannot measure DC current, so they're no good for this. And if they cost less than 100 bucks, they're probably going to be low accuracy. They probably can only do like 0.1 amps accuracy, which is not really good enough for this. So the minimum that you're gonna have to spend is about 125, which is what this one costs. This is a GTC CM100, and it's, you know, I can recommend this one. Be careful spending less than that. And you know what makes them very nice is that they are so convenient to use. You know, you open the clamp, put the wire in there, close the clamp, and you get an instant readout on the current. You know, if you use a multimeter, you have to break the connection and put it in there, so it's a little bit more work. But at the low currents that we're dealing with, a multimeter is just as accurate or maybe more accurate than a clamp ammeter. So think about using something like that, and till next time.